The Wii U might not have been a huge success for Nintendo, but it did play home to some of the best games of the last generation. One of those games was Splatoon, probably Nintendo's biggest move in a new direction for a genre that had largely been ignored by them. Nintendo's take on the modern multiplayer shooter, the original Splatoon, was a hit with Nintendo fans for its unique gameplay mechanics and colorful visuals. Just a couple of years later, we now have Splatoon 2, which doesn't feel quite as unique as its predecessor, as it relies largely on the same gameplay mechanics and art style of the original, but it does offer this great package on the new Nintendo Switch with all of the benefits that provides. For those that don't know, Splatoon is about the Inklings, and yes, they've returned in Splatoon 2. These characters have the ability to turn into a squid. This allows them to traverse the world in unique ways, primarily through covering the map with ink and then swimming through it. Splatoon 2's movement mechanics are nearly identical to the first game, allowing for fast traversal using varied methods like climbing walls and swimming through fences or pipes. This core gameplay mechanic is what the Splatoon series has been built on, whether playing single-player, competitive multiplayer, or the new cooperative mode, Salmon Run. While multiplayer is the star of Splatoon 2, it does have a robust single-player campaign as well. Similar to the first game, players explore small hub worlds, finding entrances and hidden paths by splattering ink all over the place. Levels are somewhat linear and feature platforming, shooting, hidden items, and boss battles. These function something similar to what you would find in the Zelda series, with players needing to use different weapons to figure out a boss's weak point and then defeat them. Unfortunately, the narrative side of Splatoon 2 is a little bit bare bones. Following up on the original, the story takes place 2 years after the events of that game and will follow a similar path in searching for the Great Zapfish and battling Octarians. While single player has changed very little, there are some new additions such as rideable robots and orbs which will zip you around the map that are nice new additions. But regardless of these minor tweaks to the single player formula, the meat of Splatoon 2 is certainly the multiplayer, which is just as great in Splatoon 2 for the Switch as it was for the original Wii U. These unique movement mechanics and gameplay rules form a competitive yet friendly online experience where teams of players can compete in a variety of modes. Turf War is where you'll spend most of your time, and it's an objective mode that shifts the focus away from killing each other, which is what many online shooters do, to map control. While direct confrontations are still a key factor in the gameplay, things like your special ability and team score are all tied to playing the objective. It's a unique, less stressful spin on competitive online play. Splatoon 2 does have all the bells and whistles of modern online games. Working through the game's progression system will allow you to build your rank. This system has weapons and other features tied to it. Once you've ranked up high enough, you can unlock ranked matches and league battles. These two playlists include more than the standard Turf War, with different modes added to the list that have different rule sets. Splatoon 2 League Play, though, is for the most devout, featuring a 2-hour set of ranked matches. If you've played the original Splatoon and a lot of this is sounding really familiar, you may be asking yourself, what's changed here? The answer is not much. Nintendo seemingly has gone with an if it ain't broke don't fix it mentality. That's not to say that there isn't anything new in Splatoon 2. Maps, weapons, and gear will be new even for returning players, and those who recall the launch of Splatoon on Wii U will also remember a rather sparse selection of maps at launch, with Nintendo doing a gradual rollout. This time around, the game hits the ground running with more maps from the get-go. Weapons have been tweaked, with some added and others removed. There's really plenty to experiment with here, from character customization and gear to weapons and loadouts. It'll ultimately be up to the player to determine which weapons work best for them. Visuals have also been improved in Splatoon 2. It might be hard to see it with the cartoonish art style, but this is simply a gorgeous game on the Nintendo Switch. While it doesn't look like a complete overhaul, small touches improve the look and feel of the game. Flecks of glitter shine through your ink, characters are more active and fluid in their animations, and these things add to what was already a great looking game. If you're looking for something wholly new, you'll find it in Salmon Run. This is a 4-player cooperative mode that has players battling AI-controlled enemies and collecting golden eggs from boss battles. Yes, this is Nintendo's take on Horde mode. The action is fast and frantic, the map is filled with enemies, and bosses stream in with a nice variety. Once you've met your golden egg quota, you'll move on to the next wave, which has the tide moving in or out to alter the map. This new cooperative mode is a great way to play with friends if you're on the go and want to play local via wireless, but it can also be played online. Matchmaking is unfortunately a timed event, so it might not reach its true potential of what is otherwise a nice value add to the Splatoon 2 package. When looking at the contents of which may seem a little light, but the actual experience of the game is stronger than it first appears. Splatoon 2 is simply a fantastic shooter with the level of quality and charm expected out of Nintendo. The style is unique, the music is great, and each match will almost certainly end with you uttering, "Just one more."